We launched a new project looking at schools that do a good job of teaching kids how to read. We started by looking for schools that were beating the odds and getting third grade reading scores that were higher than what might be expected based on their poverty rates. I'm Chad Alderman. I'm a columnist at the 74. Poverty is highly predictive of reading outcomes, and students in wealthier schools tend to get higher scores. We were looking for schools that were doing better than that and outperforming. And then we placed them on a map. You can look on the map in all 50 states and the District of Columbia and find the schools in your community that are beating the odds. Look for those yellow bright spots.
When you click on a school on the map, you'll be able to see a graph of how that particular school does compared to all the other schools in the same district. And at the bottom, you'll find text explaining our calculations. For example, based on the school's poverty rate, we expected a certain percentage of kids who will reach proficiency, and then we compare that expectation to the school's actual results.
We found 2,158 schools where third grade reading scores were better than expected. We started with a data set of 41,883 schools across 10,000 districts. Some of the examples include Hoover Elementary in Los Angeles. It's a high poverty school, and yet it gets really strong reading outcomes. Another example is Pocomoke Elementary in Maryland. We cited it last year as a district that did a good job, but Pocomoke was one of our high flyers once again. These exceptional schools were in the top 5% of their state in terms of outscoring their expected reading proficiency. We got our data from two places. On achievement, we used data from the Education Data Center, which had cleaned and compiled state-level proficiency rate data. And then we compared it to the poverty rate data from the federal government. In particular, we used a count of students who are eligible for free and reduced price lunch, which is a proxy for poverty rates. Early reading scores are important. They are predictive of later life outcomes, both academic and non-academic. Students who struggle with early reading are more likely to have behavioral challenges, and they're less likely to graduate high school. This project is personal for me. I started working on literacy when I found out that my own child, my son, had been taught to read using what's called the 3 cueing strategies. And when he came to a word he didn't recognize, rather than looking at the letters and learning to sound out, he would look up to the sky and guess at what it might be. But that's not how good readers learn to read. Good readers pay attention to the words on the page, and they sound it out and use things they know to understand the meaning of the text. So this project is about trying to find schools that are doing a good job, that aren't using those discredited practices called 3 cueing, and instead are using a systematic, sequential approach to teaching kids how to read.